It's a pro stock in Top Fuel here at the Oldsmobile Springnationals, but believe me, the excitement is just as intense in the third professional category of funny car. Ask Chuck Etchells. He qualified #1 for the first time in his career. He ran a 5:23 in the process. Etchells is currently 10th in the Winston point standings. The field headed by John Force, the two-time champion. Cruz Pedregon second, Jim Epler third, Al Hoffman fourth, and Del Worship #5. But the big story performance-wise was in round #1, where Cruz Pedregon blasted out a 5:17 at over 288 as he was racing against Jim Epler, driving Johnny West, medal arrestor Dodge Daytona. All eyes were on the McDonald's Oldsmobile as this car streaked through the quarter mile, but their attention was quickly diverted to Jim Epler. As Cruz streaked down track to his track record-shattering 5:17 at over 288, Epler was literally on fire. He waited a while until he brought the parachutes out. They did not burn off. That helped slow the car as the safety safari arrived very quickly on the scene, hitting it with the firefighting compounds. Safety safari crew on the scene to help Epler out of the burning car. Steve had a chance to talk with him.
I feel fine. The fire went right out. Might have got a little bit of smoke, but I think I'm okay.
Good job at driving. Getting it stopped is the most important thing.
Yes, definitely the most important, but the guys are right on it and put the fire out, so I think we kept it to a minimum.
As always, a great job by the safety safari.
Epler was checked out by the emergency medical technicians and pronounced A-OK. In round #2, Cruz Pedregon, the 5:17 car against Tom Hoover, while John Force, the Winston points leader, raced his young opponent, Del Worship. Hoover, with the Scotch color print film Dodge Daytona, had qualified #7 with a 5.40 and defeated Jerry Caminito in the first round. He had to be thinking about Pedregon's performance out of the McDonald's car. That 5:17 just blew away Etchells' low elapsed time. That's just what Tom Hoover did to his tires. He blew them off, while Pedregon, look at the time there. In round #2, 5:21 at over 286 miles an hour to advance to the Final Four. Del Worsham and John Force had previously raced a total of 6 times. John Force and the Castrol Olds had won every matchup up until the second round here at Columbus. John Force may have been thinking a bit too much about Pedregon in those times as the Castrol Olds went up in smoke. Worship crossed the finish line with a subpar 5:44, but he advanced to the semifinals, and John Force did not.
John obviously overpowered the racetrack a bit. Were you trying to run the kind of numbers that Pedregon has been running? Did that have play any part in it at all?
Yeah, we did. We were watching the track first. We thought, pull it back a little bit, Steve, and then he ran that 21, so we thought it must be good. And you're looking at racing him next round and trying to get lane choice very, very crucial here. And we shot our shot and we missed it. But this is a new car, and it's done well since the crash at Memphis, so we're happy with it, and it'll come around.
Okay, John.
John's accident at Memphis cost him the car that had carried him to 2 national event wins thus far this year. The other side of the ladder found Chuck Etchells up against Whit Bazemore, while Al Hoffman's Dodge was matched against the Pontiac of Gordon Mineo. A big win by Whit Bazemore in round #1 over Mark Oswald advanced him to the second round of competition, where he met up with the #1 qualifier, Chuck Etchells. Now, Etchells already knew that his elapsed time record was long gone here at Columbus, but the nobody beats the whiz Dodge was certainly the favorite in this match against Bazemore. Lane choice had gone to Etchells, and he hoped to use the near lane of the track much the same as Pedregon had already done in running a low 5:20. But remember, Bazemore and the Fast Orange Ford Pro made it all the way to the finals at Memphis. It was not to be, though, in round #2 as crew chief Maynard Yanks watched Chuck Etchells run a 5:28.
The car must have turned the tire just a little bit on us.
You're disappointed now with 5:28?
Little bit. Hoffman's, you have to pick Hoffman as the favorite here. I mean, they've been running real well, and, you got to watch those guys.
And he's an old pal.
Until we go to the starting line, yeah.
The blower drive service Dodge of Al Hoffman came into round #2, the decided favorite. His competition, Gordon Mineo out of Rockwall, Texas. Gordon, coming back to the sport about a year and a half ago, has certainly left his mark. He's been able to run very, very well, but in round number 2, he left the starting line a hair too soon. The red light was showing, giving an automatic victory to Al Hoffman. That moved him to the semifinals, where his competition is Chuck Etchells, and Etchells, with his 5:28 in round 2, has the lane choice. Cruz Pedregon, not much doubt there. His 5:21 gives him the pick of lanes over Del Worship. In the top fuel pit area, this is the crew on the Skull Bandit of Don Prudhomme, hard at work preparing the car for the final round appearance against Connie Coletta. That action coming up just a little bit later. Pontiac, they're getting the car ready to meet Larry Morgan in the finals of Pro Stock Eliminator in an Oldsmobile versus Pontiac battle. I'd like to take a moment to invite you to become a member of a very special organization, the National Hot Rod Association. For just $48 a year, you can get 48 issues of National Dragster, a patch, pin, rule book, and a whole lot more. And if you order by calling the number on your screen, you'll get a free copy of Diamond P's home video, Drag Racing 91. Give a call today. Ed McCulloch, the top fuel half of the McDonald's racing team, looking on intently as Cruz Pedregon gets set to battle Del Worship. The youngest funny car winner in NHRA history, Del Worship, realizes that his opponent is another of the young rising stars of this sport. Cruz Pedregon is only 28 years old, and he has the distinction of driving not only the Nitro Funny car, but also a top fuel dragster, a top alcohol dragster, and a top alcohol funny car in his short career. While a race car has literally thousands of parts, racers today say there is one key to success.
Inside that bell housing, you can just see it through the inspection cover, the plate having been removed, is the clutch that is the secret to winning this race. You're looking at the Cruz Pedregon car, and no one is managing their clutch better. Now, the back of the car is where the adjustments are made as far as how that clutch locks up down an ever-changing racetrack. Right here, see these two little timers, and there's jets down inside these bodies. That controls how those fingers are released and where the pressure is applied on the racetrack. They may change the timer a little bit as the track gets gooey to bring the power on later. As it gets better, they'll change them back to bring the power on earlier. It could be won or lost right here in funny car and top fuel.
And Pedregon's crew chief Larry Meyer has certainly been right on today. A 5:17 and a 5:21, the two quickest times ever here at National Trail Raceway. A tremendous race, and Pedregon pulls it out. The advantage at the starting line went to Del Worship, but at the finish, a 5:29 by Pedregon gave him a 0.04 of a second margin of victory. Let's watch this one in replay. In the far lane, Del Worship responded to the green light quicker, 25 thousandths. Keep that figure in mind as he pulled ahead of Cruz Pedregon. Then, as the clutch in the McDonald's Oldsmobile began to come in, the power was applied, and it was almost too much. He actually was hazing the tires, slipping the tires at the far end of the racetrack. His performance advantage, 29 thousandths of a second. There's the margin of victory.
That was one close automobile race.
Oh, that was unbelievable. Del, what can I say? He's done a good job. He's it's been a while since I've been in these late rounds. I need to...
You saw him?
I saw his fender all the way, black fender. Scared the heck out of me, but McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Oldsmobile in the final.
Back at the starting line, the burnouts are completed. A final check in the far lane of Al Hoffman's car by his crew chief, Tom Anderson, while Chuck Etchells brings the nobody beats the whiz Dodge to the starting line. Etchells here has got to be considered the favorite based on performances, but Hoffman, winner at Memphis, is certainly on a streak. That's his wife, Helen, with her final check of the car. Lower drive service Dodge Daytona, the last to stage. He's set. Another close race, and again, the advantage at the starting line pays off. Al Hoffman picked up a big lead, held on for the victory. He ran a very creditable 5:28 at 2:73. The losing time for Etchells was 5:26. Hoffman's advantage in the far lane was 47 thousandths of a second, and try as he might, Chuck Etchells clawing away at that lead just could not make up the difference. As they neared the speed traps at the finish line, Etchells probably knew at this point the race was over, but he did not give up. by about a half a car length, Al Hoffman moves to the finals of Funny Car Eliminator. His competition is going to be Cruz Pedregon, and by that performance, Hoffman earned himself the choice of lanes.
Some fantastic driving won that one.
What was it?
Your 28 beat his 26.
Oh, well, it's about time. Tommy's been accusing me of being late all week, and I've been telling him it's been the car, and I said, fix that, and it'll work, and it did.
Well, everything worked together, obviously.
Right. Tommy's done. I just can't say enough about him. Race after race, he just always bails us out here, and he's done a great job on the car. BDS, Black Diamond Dodge Daytona is flying again, and we're back.
He took the smile up of Pedregon's face when he heard you have lane choice.
Well, I've been in a few finals now and ain't lost one, so let's see if we can't hold our record again.
Trying to keep that string intact, Al Hoffman looking for yet another championship win. Work going on Cruz Pedregon's Oldsmobile, and look who's doing the work. That is Ed McCulloch, and look who's helping out. That is the president and chief executive officer of McDonald's Incorporated. That is Ed Renzi lending a helping hand to the Larry Minor race team. Meantime, on the starting line, we're ready for the finals in Pro Stock Eliminator, and it is a pair of Newark, Ohio residents. Larry Morgan, a native, Jerry Ekman, a California transplant. He and his partner Bill Orndorff moved the Pennzoil racing operation to the heartland of America just about a year and a half ago. The Castrol Oldsmobile of Larry Morgan gave away lane choice by only 7/1000ths of a second on paper. This should be a very close race. Oldsmobile versus Pontiac, and Ekman has a great deal at stake here. Should he be able to pull out a victory, it would give him a commanding lead in the Winston points chase. Dale Ike, the engine builder for Jerry Ekman, looking on intently as both cars come into the staging beams. And something goes wrong for Morgan. He is forced to shut off. Jerry Ekman takes the title, the all-important points. His elapsed time, 7:29 at 189 miles an hour. While we have been talking all day long about reaction times, in this case, it was identical to the thousandths of a second. As we watch in the replay, you see Morgan in the near lane having the difficulties, forcing him to lift, and Ekman streaked ahead to the finish line and taking the victory, which moves him out in front of Warren Johnson by a substantial margin. His elapsed time very safe and conservative at a 7:29, but this was a big victory, his third of the 1992 season for Jerry Ekman. Let's go to Steve.
What a season for Jerry Ekman as he pads his Winston points lead. You win in your adopted new little hometown. Life is good.
It certainly is. You know, we had a couple of hometown boys in the final, and I'll tell you, we went into a little slump mid-season. It looks like we're back. We got a tough team here. You know, it's not just me, it's the team. We don't always run the best, but my team gets this car down these tough conditions and tough tracks, and I'm so proud to drive this Pennzoil Pontiac. We're great to be here as a winner again.
Proud to be here with it.
Oh, I'm excited as can be, and I know my team is ecstatic.
Great job.
Thank you.
As I mentioned, that big win gives him a big lead, 1,052 points over his closest competitor, Warren Johnson. Scott Jeffrey on third. Morgan is fourth, and Don Beverly now number 5. The shot from high above gives you an idea of this huge crowd, but nobody's leaving. Nitro Finals coming up next.